Hello everyone, it's GigaBeef here, and today we're investigating audio, or more specifically, what you can be heard doing from what distance by other players. I can't overstate how important this is, because there are some things that you can be heard doing by other people that make no sound for you. So let's get into it with number one, which is minimum speed crouched movement. This one is a hot topic in the game at the moment, i.e. the you move you die meta, and I've seen lots of confusion over the sound that crouch walking at minimum speed makes. We tested a few places with a few variations, and none made any difference whatsoever. It was still totally silent everywhere, even on wooden surfaces and metal too, which may surprise some people. I can't hear anything actually. This is the same for both the Contact 4s, factually the best headset in the whole game, and also for the M32s, which is what I used for most of the wipe and is our low-end headset for these tests. This is also only true for absolutely the minimum speed. Even if you notch up your movement by 1 or 2 slots, you hardly move any faster, but you actually increase the audibility from 0 to something. Number 2, spinning on the spot makes a lot of sound. This one is well known to the veterans of the game, as when you turn when you're crouched or stood up, the feet of your PMC makes a crunch associated with their boots turning on the floor whilst in contact with it. The way to mitigate this is to be moving while you turn, which prevents the turn audio from playing. Combining this with the minimum speed crouch walking, which as we saw was silent anyway, means that you can now silently turn as well in this mode, probably what makes it so powerful. Number 3, walking at minimum speed is audible, but much less so than regular walking. When we tested this, you can slow walk without making any sound until about 20 meters away with a pair of Contact 4s, so this is likely about 15 meters or so with the M32s. Either way, this is pretty close and lets you move a bit faster than crouching to get into a position without being heard. Number 4, walking at regular speed and running is some of the loudest audio in the whole game and is dependent upon weight. It's worth throwing up Omni Actual's headset spreadsheet here and go and watch the video too if you're interested in the testing, because every headset was benchmarked in a few different situations, which is an incredibly useful piece of information to know. We repeated a couple just to make sure that it made sense, and we got the same 70 meter audio range for the Contact 4s against an underweight walking PMC. And if you're thinking that this is insane, by the way, I certainly agree with you, and a slightly shorter 46 meters for the M32s, but this is in the right ballpark. However, this gets even higher if you're overweight. We tested a max strength PMC at 45.6 kilograms, which is into the yellow weight, and normal walking was audible through the Contact 4s at an incredible 80 meters and the M32s at 50. The other scenarios that you might be interested in, i.e. running overweight and underweight, are already dealt with on the spreadsheet, so go and look at that for some more info. Number 5, prone movement is really loud, except you don't make any sound when spinning around on the spot. Crawling along prone makes a lot of noise, even at the lowest speed, so you may as well go as fast as you can in those situations, but you can spin around as much as you like and nobody will hear you. Nothing for the spin. Number 6, avoid all bushes if you want to prevent the audio from them from reaching your enemy. Even walking as slow as you can, bush audio plays at the same volume as if you walk through it normally, and even minimum speed crouching activates this as well. You can't avoid it by moving slightly and turning like you can for normal footstep audio. Bushes are relentless, and you basically have to be completely stationary to prevent the sound effects from coming through. One that you have to be really careful about is prone and turning around. I know that we said that prone has no sound when you spin, well that's not the case for bushes, and the kicker is you won't even hear it yourself. So if you're prone and you're spinning in a bush, you won't hear the sound effect, but everybody else will. Rats beware. Do make sound spinning prone. Number 7, falling sounds play after about 3 steps on the custom skeleton building staircase and are properly synchronized between players. I'll show you what this means here. Basically, we tested a couple of different heights to fall off the staircase that leads up into this area on customs and found that after step 3, the fall audio played for both of us. Below this, and neither of us had the falling sound effect play at all. This one did change in recent history about a year ago from the making of this video, because historically PMCs made no noise externally when falling off ledges or rocks or whatever, and it would only play for you. But this is gone now, so watch your step. Number 8, both ergonomics and weight affect the sound distance of going into ADS with guns. We tested using the AXMC bolt action with a thermal scope, so terrible ergo all around, and high weight, which was 35 meters audible ADS overweight and 32 meters underweight using M32s. Comparing this to an underweight 308 MDR, ADS here was audible from 29 meters with the M32s and 36 meters with the Contact 4s. Slightly overweight at 36 kilos took this to 30 meters with the M32s and 33 meters at 45 kilos. At 51 kilos, this increased to 40 meters with the M32s, and using the contact force, it was audible at an incredible 50 meters. One interesting part about this, because it's weight dependent, is that you can influence the audible range of aiming down sights using a mule. Because it affects the overweight threshold, the heaviest weight that we tested of 51 kilograms indeed brought the ADS sound range back to the same as being underweight with the mule effect active, i.e. 30 meters with the M32 headset. Number 9. Zeroing makes no sound client-side, but it does to other players. This one was a total surprise to me. As a solo player, some of these things are impossible to know about until you test them, and I was given a heads up when asking around by my Discord members for this one in particular. It turns out that, yes, this is indeed true, and it uses the same sound effect as changing scope magnification, which is also audible. The distance here was 28 meters, both with the M32s and the contact force, so yeah, for some reason it didn't make a difference between these two headsets, which is a bit odd. Number 10. Using blind fire to get out of ADS without being heard no longer works. This was a very popular strategy once upon a time to un-ADS without making any sound, and although you don't get an audio cue yourself, other players still hear the ADS being removed on their end now. Lots of people still think this is doable because you don't get the sound effect on your own PC, so don't get caught out and stop using it to un-ADS. Yeah, okay, so that's actually fixed. Blind fire to get out of ADS. Does this work? No. That's actually resolved. Number 11. Some weapons are much louder than others when using the inventory. In particular, we tested the G28 against the 308 MDR because of the classic click sound that the G28 makes, and it turns out that this had a dramatic impact on the audibility of using the inventory with this weapon. Yeah, it does make the weird... makes the weird click third party as well. The MDR could be heard from 16 meters away using the contact force, but the G28 could still be heard from as far as 30 meters. The range was a bit less for the M32s, but still 23 meters, which is about the same as the other audio cues like check fire mode, which is the same between both headsets as well, and is about 25 meters. One random tidbit is that with no weapon equipped, moving into the inventory is basically silent. Not sure how practical that is, but there you go. Number 12. Quick dropping your bag makes a sound, but dropping a bag within a bag makes none whatsoever. You could in theory bring two bags, one inside the other, and do the old method of bag dropping, which is quickly opening the inventory and pressing your discard hotkey over the bag, but now you can do this with the internal bag instead to get the same effect. Obviously, you'll still make the inventory sound, so it's not totally silent, but it's a less obvious sound cue as the bag drop audio is very specific that only means one particular thing. And finally, number 13. Breathing and going out of breath. The obvious one is that you don't hear breathing from other people's helmets that you get behind face shields, but more interesting is that other players can't hear when you go out of breath due to the hold breath mechanic specifically. So out of breath sounds don't play. You hear heavy breathing on your end, but this is silent to observers, so don't worry about catching your breath again before resteadying your aim. They won't know. The only time this becomes audible is when you hold ADS for too long. When you do this for an extended period, first the blue arm stamina bar goes down, and once this is zero, the game starts taking stamina from your green leg bar. When this hits red stamina, the out of breath sound then plays for both you and anybody nearby, and seemingly this is the only time that it's audible to others. Now I'm heavy breathing. Players very rarely get to this point though, so unless you're really keen to hold a specific position, as you have to go through so much stamina to end up with this effect, it's pretty rare overall. So some of these I wasn't even fully aware of before the testing, and hopefully you learned something new. A big shout out to my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.